So I was talking to a guy in Iowa I was earlier this week, and he is going to. Some people are going to think I'm talking about Ryan Gibbs. It was actually a different guy. He had some. I think it was in western Iowa, closer to Nebraska, and he was actually going to take some of his low production acres, like I guess some pretty tough dirt. And he was just going to cover crop it and graze it and finish his calves out on it this summer, because he ran the numbers, and I believe he qualified for a cover crop program, so he had his seed paid for. I don't know. There's some people are going to be like, okay, hang on. I believe he didn't have to insure it because he went just into a cover crop.
Yeah.
So he didn't have crop insurance cost. Didn't have to worry about a bunch of herbicide inputs or a lot of fertility. And then he was looking at, he's like, okay, if I want to say he had like $50 in the cover crop to plant and whatever, and he put a little fertility on with it. But his gains per acre on grazing steers was way higher.
Yeah,
way higher.
Low input, low risk.
Yeah, he's like this corn's probably going to be 130, 150 bushel corn, which, and he's like, it may only, I'm sure some guys are going to be like, man, that's pretty good corn.
Right.
But where he's at, he's like, man, this is a little lower production for me. It's all dry land. He's like, if it rains, it'll crank. If it doesn't, its dirt dries out. Very sandy, some hilly stuff. He's like, dude, my ROI per acre on the steer is so much higher than corn right now at $4 corn. And,
Yeah, I've got a neighbor that they have just a little cutout next to a pasture that for the last like 10 years they planted feed or, sedan, and they just turn the cows out on it late in the summer with their calves. And they've kind of got like a little family deal that I don't know if they pool calves together when they sell, but kind of same genetics, same cow lines. And that pasture, those calves always had gotten split off going through the sale barn because they came in 75 pounds heavier on average, which that's just kind of farmer math talking. But I mean, in today's cow market, a $3 or $4 steer times 75, you're over $200 an acre just on added bonus for what you're already doing.
Yeah.
So,
and you can stick several miles per acre out there. You get a big cover crop. I don't know. I'm the only cover crop. The only grazing we do is on about 100 acres or so that we'll plant a crop, and we plan that to get cover crop in behind it, then winter graze it, and we kick the fall cows out on that. But I think it'd be. Now I hate cows. Everyone knows. If most people who know me more than a day know I hate cattle, but I think it would be cool to see, just how much volume of plant you could grow, how many pounds you could pack on cattle through a rotational grazing. And I mean, I'm sure there's people watching this like, dude, there's lots of people doing, and I know there's people doing this, but actually putting the math to it, what is my ROI on beef, my ROI on grain?
Right.
And there's a lot of farmers out there that don't want to admit that there's more money in beef production right now than there is in grain. And now, am I going to go fence all my stuff off and put cows in it? No, I'm not.
Nobody's going to change the whole farm around just for that.
But if he was geographically set up to where he could do that man, I think there's a great opportunity right now.
Oh, I think so. I mean, especially, right in your area where you guys like to double crop beans. I mean, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to beans. I don't know cost of production on beans. We just don't grow them out there.
Sure.
Maybe planting something after wheat harvest to graze instead this winter makes a lot more money than what beans do. The
biggest kicker is, and I do think this is a kicker in a lot of instances, double crop beans are insurable here. So, your county average is 20 bushel an acre double crop. You're at 75% coverage. That's going to pay for your seed and your herbicide, guaranteed. And, so really you have no risk if you're insured to have those double crop beans out there.
Right.
But at the same time, before that, there was not near as many double crops planted, and there was much more forage crops planted after wheat.
Makes
So you
sense.
cut the wheat, man. There was Sudan millet going in immediately behind the wheat stubble. Hay that off, plant it to a cover crop, and then winter graze it. It was a
Okay.
very common practice. So really, you were getting 3 crops a year.
That's impressive.
Yeah, 3 crops a year if you consider you got your... Guys, if you've liked the information that you've seen so far, go ahead and check out the full-length podcast on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe there. It's also on all the major podcast platforms. We're constantly dropping info and more content on all the social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Check it out for a lot more content.